this is Eric from JRR Shop, and today I'm demonstrating for you the Humble Amps Overdrive Solo. And the reason I've got three of them stacked up right here is because we make three different versions, and I want to demonstrate the sounds of all three for you, and also tell you a little bit about them. So the interesting thing about these amps is that we were contacted by superstar producer Greg Wells earlier this year, and he at the time had been in the studio with Keith Urban, and Keith had brought in his Humble amp that he had gotten from John Mayer, and he was using that in the studio, and Greg was going crazy over Keith's sound. And Greg contacted us and asked us if we could make him an amp that sounded like Keith's amp. It sounded more black face-ish, it sounded more Fender-y, it got an amazing clean sound. It wasn't really the sort of mid-rangey fuzzy sound that or not fuzzy, but mid-rangey high gain sound that we sort of think of first when we think of Dumbles. So you got this great tone out of it, and we wanted to get that for Greg. So we modified our circuit a little bit. We we installed Mercury Magnetics transformers into them. We make two different versions that have the Mercury Magnetics, and the Mercury Magnetics ones are also the ones that have the Greg Wells mods in them. And so right here we've got the stock amp, and the stock amp is based on a basic HRM circuit. And the real main difference is that you're going to get a more Fender-y, cleaner, less bass-heavy sound out of the models that we modified for Greg. So, the first two are 50-watt amps, both going. The top one's going through our stock transformer, and then we've got the Mercury Magnetics transformer, and these both have 6L6s in them. And then the bottom one down here has 6 V6s and has a 22-watt transformer in it. So it's 22 watts coming out of 6 V6s. And it's really cool. It has not only is it lower wattage, but it has a real different sound from the 6L6s. And you're going to hear that all three of them have really distinct, interesting sounds. So let's begin with the 50-watt Greg Wells version. So the first thing I want to show you with these amps is that they're really touch sensitive, to playing dynamics, and also to how you set your volume knob. So let's check this out. You can hear a little dynamics here. And also how I'm adjusting the knob right here. All right, so let's begin going through all different versions. I'm going to start right now with the 50-watt Greg Wells version. And here's our 50-watt stock amp. So, immediately you can really hear just how much more open sounding the Greg Wells modded version is, and also how much more bass the stock amp has. So it's really the kind of sound that you want to go for. If you're looking for more of a Fender-y chime, then, get our Greg Wells modded version. But if you want to save some money, have a thicker sound, get our stock version, which we sell for a lot less money because it doesn't have the Mercury Magnetics transformers in it. All right, let's move on to the 22-watt version. Right away you can hear how much it's got this kind of crystally kind of grind to it that the 50-watt version didn't have. It's a little bit smoother, a little bit rounder sounding, but at the same time not as bass heavy as our stock amp. I'll tell you, for recording, this is actually my favorite version. I feel like it doesn't have even though it lacks some of the chime of the 50-watt version, It's so smooth and records so easily. So I really like recording with 22 watt best. The actual volume level, I should also mention that, you know, they both are crazy loud. So I wouldn't even choose the amps so much based on the volume level as much as just choosing which sound you want. So, you know, you can hear a little more. I'll go through the 50 watt again in a little bit. And now we're back to the 50 watts, so you can check it out again. So there you have it. The Overdrive Solo. I believe we're selling the Greg Wells 50 watt version and the 22 watt version for $1,399. And we've got the stock version for $1,034, if I've got that correct. One last thing. I had identical settings for all three amps. I actually used Keith's own amp settings, exactly what Keith uses. So I'm going to post those amp settings in the description so that you can get those sounds yourself if you buy one of our amps.